let's do a key and a fill and a reflector, okay? Maybe throw in a low reflector, see what that looks like. And then I'll have from the studio audience, maybe you guys have a different lighting modifier you want me to use. We'll throw that on there as well. So we're gonna do key. We'll just keep this as the key. We'll bring in the other umbrella as the fill. Okay, so kind of a traditional split light setup. I'll turn this on now. Bingo. And now I've got these two highs. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring in a reflector underneath to make this photo even brighter, happier, more festive and joyful. And to do that, there's a variety of ways we can do that. You can actually hold it yourself. So sometimes I'll have the model hold it themselves just like this. And when they do hold it, just bring your elbows in just like that, okay? Versus this, right? That doesn't look so appealing, but this looks nice. So just keep your elbows in, hold that reflector like that. Or I could also have someone in the audience hold it. But for now, maybe I'll just have you hold it. Yep, cool. Nice. And then I'm going to have you point, if you can, this is a little bit weird, but I'm going to have you point your hips and your feet towards the key light a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Cool, right there. I like it. Good. Take a picture. Oh yeah, can you see what the power setting on that one is?
No, unfortunately.
Okay, no worries. We'll just take a picture, see how it turns out. Great, 1, 2, 3. And point your nose right towards me. There you go, 1, 2, 3. Okay, you can set this down. Oh, I left the snoot turned on. You gotta keep me honest. Just wait till we add 4 and 5 lights. Oh no, too many lights. Okay, bring it up a little bit, right there, down a tiny bit, right there. Got it? All right, cool. Nose right at the camera. And here we go, 1, 2, 3. So this lighting, basically what we've done is we've created almost a clamshell type of lighting arrangement. Clamshell is when you have a light above and a light below. This is really soft light. It hides all those imperfections in the face, all the divots and wrinkles and all the stuff that happens in people's faces. So this softer light can often be used well for beauty lighting, that type of scenario. So there we go. All right, so you can grab a seat. We'll have someone else come up here and we'll shoot with a different modifier. Do you guys have a request?
Take away the fill light and then use a soft box with a grid coming across the back of that brick to really get the accent of the texture.
Okay, I like that idea. So to repeat what he's saying, he says, we're gonna use the umbrella still as the key light. We're gonna kill the fill, and then we're gonna use the softbox with the grid to really have a good directional light. I love that idea. So we'll give that a try. So the softbox with the grid. Let's see here. How can I do that quickly and easily? Maybe what we'll do is we'll use the octa with the grid rather than the soft box because that's already set up. And I think my grid is over here. Okay, the key is to always figure out where the corners of this thing are. And I always mess it up. That looks close enough. And it just Velcros in here. It's really simple, really fast. And while we're doing this, you know what I'm gonna bring in that. I think I might bring in the really big umbrella just to get a different feel for the photo overall. Are you cool with that? Okay. All right. So there we're gonna do the grid. Gonna throw a flash in there. So we'll throw this one. take my snoot off. And that's going to go right into the back of this. Cool. And this one's not quite fitting perfectly. I'll try to bring this up so y'all can see it. There we go. See, it's a little bit high just because a different flash, a little bit higher. Most flashes have a slightly down position, so if I move it slightly down, it looks like that's going to work just fine. Okay, good. And we'll position that. Well, I got to turn it on. So this one's on, and let's see, what was I at before? Around a 16th power, I think, and I'm about a 16th minus 2/3. So we'll call that good. And we'll position it here against the background. About like that. Cool. Now, this isn't going to be too different than the umbrella because it's still sending light from out here and light in here, but it might give us a kind of a stronger look overall. We'll see. Okay, we'll throw this big guy on there. So the 42-inch, put that away. Put on the 6-footer. And this one's the silver one, just to remind everybody. Big, bold, and beautiful. Okay. And I'm at 1/8 power here. Lock that guy down. And I've got my diffusion dome on the flash, so it covers the whole interior of that. So you want to be the model for this one? You can stand about right here. And because this is so big, I don't have to position it as high overall. It's going to illuminate a lot of his torso. Cool. Looks good. For this one, let's have you point your hips into the light. We'll shoot one into the light and then one with your hips the other direction. And I'm going to have you move that way a little bit. Perfect. Just trying to get space on that background light. Okay. All the settings are still the same. Shutting off all my other lights, making sure they're all off. Cool. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we'll see how that one turns out. Oh, where's that coming from? That's our grid. That's our gridded light. It kind of looks like the snoot almost, doesn't it? Remember earlier how I was talking about how the grid allows you a lot of direct control over where that light goes, compared to that previous shot that we did with the umbrella where the light went everywhere. So we do have some control over that. I would say I need to move that grid back a little bit more. So let me do that. Here, you can hold my camera. Watch that cable. This is where C-stands can help. Sometimes C-stands allow you to stack your light stands on top of each other. And I'm going to reduce the power on this just a little bit. I was at 1/16. I'll drop it down 2/3 of a stop. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I think this is going to be better. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Nice. Okay, we evened out the exposure a little bit by moving the light farther away. I would, if I had a little more space back there and a little more time in the class, I'd probably move it back even more. But that look is really nice. I like that look with his black shirt and kind of the shadow off of that side of his face.
Thanks for the headshot.
Yeah, now you got yourself a headshot, man. Let's do it again, but let's have you point your feet over towards Kenna.
Okay.
Back up 3 inches right there. Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Super. Okay, so this is a little bit of a darker look. So I moved his torso away from the main key light, and by doing that, it darkened down that whole front of his body. So I can make it even more mysterious, even a heavier, darker, more foreboding look compared to the previous one where I had him look into the light, brighter, happier, smilier. Cool. So that's 2 lights. Using 2 lights, you see you can do quite a bit of work with just 2 lights. Now, if you had only 2 lights and you wanted to maybe make it so he didn't look so dark on that shadow side, an easy way is to bring in a reflector. So I'd bring in that 42-inch reflector, hold it there, and light it up. All right, cool. Why don't you grab a seat and we'll throw it to Kenna and see if we have any questions on 2 lights.
So, Mike, a couple of questions had come in actually when you were showing us the snoot. And the questions were around, would you zoom the flash within the snoot and would that have any impact?
Yes, it probably would. I like that thinking. In fact, I think I could probably show that in real time by using the modeling light. Let me think of how best to show this on the house cameras. I think if I bring this over here and I get close to the wall, let's just see what that looks like. So the zoom setting is at 20 millimeters. Okay, so the zoom setting on the flash is at 20, so it's pretty wide angle. And you can see our circle there is kind of oblong. All right, is that coming through? All right, cool. So let's do now zoom. I'm gonna change the zoom and we'll set the zoom at more telephoto. As far as more as telephoto as it'll go, which is 200 millimeters. Same thing. So more zoom means that more of the square shape is going through the end, right? So what we're seeing is that we want it to be a wider angle zoom. So I'm going to go back to widest angle this will go, 17. And I'm going to do one more thing. Pull out my magic diffusion panel. Most flashes that you buy these days have a little diffusion panel that you can pull out from inside the flash head like that. And that will cause it to diffuse even more. So let's see if that gives us a rounder, better snoot look in the backdrop. Try not to break anything. Okay, cool. And the same scenario here. Whoops. Here we go. Yeah, that's a little bit rounder. Something else you might consider is tissue paper. You know, putting some tissue paper barrier in there just to get a rounder circle. Right on. That was a great question.
One had come in from Linda Vero, who had said, can you try a reflector on the background to even out the background light? Would you ever, like in this scenario, would you ever be able to use a reflector for that reason?
You could use, I understand what she's saying. You put the reflector on the other side of the frame, maybe, but not so much. What I was trying to get here for this wall was I was trying to show the texture in the wall. And what we're noticing is that there's a brightness difference from left to right. It's just a fact of using one background light, okay? That's just gonna happen. And that's why I said earlier that if you wanna do real studio photography, you gotta oftentimes have 5 lights, 2 of those in the background. If I wanted to illuminate the background evenly, then I really have to have 2 lights back there, or 1 light and 1 big old honking reflector, which that reflector isn't gonna be as good as the secondary light. So my recommendation is not to do that. My recommendation rather is to put another light back there to even out the lighting overall. What I'd like to do next is I'd like to move to the 3-light scenario. And to do that, I'm thinking we'll use the black seamless. So I'm going to call some set folks up, and we'll convert the set to the black seamless as I take my camera off of my hip, and I'll start moving some lights around. While we do that, do you guys have any specific requests for lighting for this? Softbox, Octa.
And I'll just throw that out there to the folks at home as well. We're putting up a black backdrop, and what kind of 3-light scenario might you want to see? We've got an idea over here.
I like
Yeah, go ahead.
rim light both sides and kind of a mysterious, less lighted front look.
Okay, cool. So rim light both sides. And you said more mysterious, like a darker or?
A darker, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So more of like an athletic. A lot of times we use rim lights for athletes to show the muscularity, the form. Okay, I like that idea. You think that's gonna be tall enough? Okay. And then before you put the sandbag on, why don't we raise it up? As we're doing this, let me talk through these backdrops a little bit. This is a backdrop stand. And as you can see, I'm raising it up to about 9 or 10 feet high. That's critical. You want your backdrop to be 3-4 feet taller or higher than your subject. If you don't, then you're gonna get that stand in the background, and you don't want that.
I'll get to this.
Okay, good idea. So she's gonna tape this to the floor. We're gonna bring our orange chair out here for this one, just a little bit different look. You had a question?
I just another option for lighting would be the octabox with the grid
Okay.
for the key light.
Okay, let's do that. We'll start out with the Octa with the grid for the key light. That'll be our first. And then we'll do a hair and then a backdrop. And then we'll go to yours, which is the 2 rim lights on the side with the 3rd light either shining at the background or at the subject. Sound good? Okay, cool. And then I know in the presentation for my 3-light setups, I've got some other bullet points here that I want to show. And in fact, to your point, the side lights with the background already on the bullet points. So you're covered. So this is a black backdrop. And as I mentioned earlier, the black backdrops can oftentimes, they fade away. So you have to think through black backdrops a lot of times, because if your subject is wearing a black shirt like yours, oh man, your whole shirt just disappears. That's where rim lights are very important, or backdrop lights are very important. So for this first example, we'll do an Octa with the grid. That'll be our key light, okay? And to do that Octa with the grid, I'll show you the Rembrandt feel, what that Rembrandt lighting looks like. Then we'll do a hair light, and then we'll also throw something on the background. So we'll pull over our Octa. Alrighty, are you feeling Octa-ish today? All right, you look like an Octa. Come on over, grab a seat in the chair. Specifically a low-slung chair. So a few things, just real quick before I set the lights, a few things about this. When we're posing people, a lot of times you need to think through the personality of the person. You kind of look like a laid-back guy, so he could probably pull this off, probably. But I don't really care for this pose a whole lot, right? So a lot of times with these low chairs, either we really emphasize the look, like way back. Oh yeah, arms crossed, something like that. The dude. Or alternatively, sit on the very front, on the edge. Yeah, exactly. So see the difference in the feel? And so as I'm lighting the photo, I'm also thinking about, here he's a little bit more aggressive, a little more coming forward. Maybe I want a little bit of a harsher look to the light, a little more aggressive look. Back there, maybe he's laying in the couch and he's like watching TV. Yeah, go ahead and do it. So now maybe I'm going to use a softer light overall. All right, so we'll do a little bit more of the aggressive light because I've got the Octa with the grid on it. So positioning that about there. You know what? I just realized I need a little more, need to move it this way a little bit. Right there. Cool. And I need to think of, I'm going to light this on the, am I going to let this side fade away to darkness, or am I going to illuminate this side? And just to make this easier for the studio, I'm going to swap everything by about 90 degrees. So I'm going to have you go like that. Yep, cool. Good, now we can see everything a little bit mo better. Cool beans. So there's the key. Why don't we build this light by light by light, and you can see how this all pieces together. So I'm at 1/32 power. I'm going to bring that back up to about a 1/16, just like we had earlier. And I'm going to turn this guy off. And it is off. Where's my other one that was firing? This guy. Turn this one off. And that one is off. Okay. So first shot is just the key light, so you all can see how this works together. Go ahead and look right here at the camera. 1, 2, 3. Oh, cool. Very, very heavy, very dark, you know, darker background. I like it. I think the look is feeling good overall. It is a little bit bright. The key light's a little bit hot, would you say? So we'll drop down the power. I'm at a 16th. I'm going to drop that down by maybe 2/3 of a stop. 2 clicks down, and I'm going to move it slightly off because it was in camera. There we go. And just one more test shot to make sure it's all looking okay. 1, 2, 3. Good job. Thank you very much. Okay, that feels good. You can see we haven't spilled light all around the scene. We've got good control over the direction of the light. Makes me happy. Okay, now let's bring in a fill. So we're gonna bring in a fill flash. To do this, we could use a softbox, we could use an umbrella, anything we want. Just to keep it simple, and because it's already set up, why don't we use a little umbrella, a small umbrella, just to show you we can do good work with small stuff. Okay, a little bit higher. What I'm doing is I'm just getting a feel for its position. Great. Turn it on, and this one was at about a 16th. It was actually 16th minus 2/3. So this is fill. It should be lower. So why don't we put this one about 32nd power. Okay, and I'm at 1/32, actually 1/32 and minus 1/3. So here's the second light. Here we go, 1, 2, 3. Okay, not as mysterious for sure. Let me show you those two things together, those two photos together. Oops. I think the fill was too bright. I really like the look with him being darker on that shadow side. So I'm going to reduce fill. I'm going to go down to like 128th power. This is the way I like to work in the studio, by the way. Piecing things together step by step. Because if you don't, you're like, well, where's that light coming from? Here, at least you know each step of the way what happened and what the change was. 1/128th power, 1/16th power minus 2/3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Sweet. Yeah. So there's the 1/128th power on the right, and then the 1/32 power on the left. So I think it looks better with a darker fill flash. So now what we're thinking is now we need to separate, at least I think we do, we need to separate him from the background. He's wearing a darker colored shirt. And so let's do some separation. We're going to do two examples here. One is a rim light off of his shoulders, and the other will be a background light on the black backdrop. Well, lots of options available to us. Why don't we use... Let's see here. Gotta get the whole kit and caboodle with me. I'm gonna use an umbrella for that background. I'm sorry, for the rim light. And I'll set that up here. And the reason why I'm going to use an umbrella, because it's so flexible, and the light's going to be going forward towards him. So I'm not worried too much about light spilling off to the background. This is another reason to use a reflect off umbrella versus a shoot through umbrella. If you use a shoot through umbrella, light would be going that way as well as towards the subject. Okay. And obviously I need to rotate it. I can rotate either just the head or the whole body. I'll just rotate the head. Lock this thing down so it doesn't fall off. And about there, I'm going to bring it up higher. One of the things you need to think about is if I'll get out of here, out of the forest, is if the subject you're photographing is bald, the hair light or rim light can cause a big reflection right on top. So it's just something to think through, that sometimes the best solution isn't a rim light, rather we just move it off to the background and we light up the background. Too many things to think about in studio lighting, huh? Okay. Oh, and I forgot to check what the power is, but let's just take a picture and see how that one turns out. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think the power was 0. Let's see what we were at. The power was at 0. It wasn't turned on. I love photography. So let's set that power at 1/8 power. You guys getting a feel for power settings today? You know, I'm typically at 8th, 16th, 32nd, just somewhere in that range. The more you do this, the more you'll realize that that's kind of your happy zone. 1/8 power, 32nd power, somewhere in that range. Oh, okay, now we're in. And we'll take that photo. Camera's connected. Life is good. 1, 2, 3. It's kind of like your look. What do we call that? The blue steel, the magnum. Okay. Cool. Now we see the shoulders. Can you make out the rim light off the shoulders? Let's make that one full screen. Oh, did I get that one full screen? Nope. 2 fingers. Letter F. Okay, cool. That looks really nice. Really a very, very nice look. 3 lights, right? 3 lights. Key, fill, and then the rim light off of his shoulders. I just want to look at it a little bit more. It's fantastic, and it's so simple. So let's do one more with this setup, and let's turn that light so it shines on the background. And for this example, for this background light, I want to lower it down low to the ground. I'm going to have it shine up against the backdrop. Try to wash the whole backdrop in light. To do that, I want to show you a different light stand. This thing out of the way, make some space. I've got a bunch of these small light stands, and they're very useful. I generally recommend photographers. Where should I be? Here? You cool with this? Okay, cool. I've got these 2 different light stands. One, this guy, and it's got a little bit of an extension here. So it basically goes from, I'll call this 18 inches high up to about 2.5 feet high. That's pretty cool. And then the other is very low to the ground right here. So basically just put the flash onto that, and then that's going to be positioned right behind his chair. Oftentimes just right there. I know that might be out of the way. I think we got it with that camera. And then what should we do with diffusion? Well, in this case, I'm going to pull the diffusion dome off, and because I want a little bit of a harder, more direct light on the backdrop. Let's just see how that works. And the power on that one, I'm currently at 1/8 power, but I'm shooting into black, and it's going to absorb a ton of light. So I'm going to ramp this guy up. I'm going to go up to 1/2 power, just because I feel like it. I am the artist. I get to decide. Okay, here we go. See how that one turns out. And I'm doing radio control, so I don't have to worry about line of sight issues. Okay, here we go. I'm going to move this guy a little bit. He's been bothering me. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Whoa, isn't that cool? I can make a black backdrop gray. So we're starting to see the power and the control that you have with your studio lighting. You don't have to be limited to just, one type of background. In fact, I do this a lot. A lot of people say, oh, I should get a gray backdrop and a white backdrop and a black backdrop. No, don't do that. Just maybe get one or two. Get an all white one and an all black one. And then by using your lights, you can modify how bright they show up in the scene. That photo looks okay. It's okay. I like it maybe a little bit darker though, huh? So that was at 1/2 power. Let's drop it down to 1/8 power. Okay, 1/8. And now it'll turn out gray. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's your look, man. You've nailed that look. Okay, mo better. Super. I'm happy with that. It feels good. So no modifiers on the flash there for the background. Just basic straight flash down low to the ground, shining up at that backdrop. Let's move on to your idea, which is what we'll call side lighting or side rim lighting. We'll do 2 side rim lights and then mess around with that background light.